back for Arfield. 1-0 Burnley. Scott Arfield. He's been threatening that recently. And all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end. Oh, what a goal! What a goal from Robbie Blake! Burnley's first goal in the Premier League is something very, very special.
Wade Elliott has that change of pace and he's got away from Montgomery into the path of McCann and the follow-up finds the net. What a strike from Wade Elliott! A bolt from the claret and blue.
Oh goodness me! What a goal from Patterson! If that is to be the one that takes them to Wembley, you cannot argue with that. Pure quality.
Here goes Mike Conroy. Still time for a winner, maybe. John Francis! They came to York in their thousands. They're going home as champions.
I mean, if there's any justice in the world, Burnley would surely score from this corner. Swung right in there. Ball in there. Yeah! Michael Cannon! Oh, that's justice! That is justice at the Amex Stadium. Burnley are level and deserve to be.
Hello everybody and welcome along to the Turfcast podcast YouTube channel. The summer transfer activity is finally underway. We've finally got somebody in. I should have said the summer transfer incomings are underway because there's been a few outgoings, unfortunately, but the incomings are underway. Obviously, Scott Twine has joined from MK Dons for a reported fee to be in the region of £4 or £5 million. So we're joined by Liam from the MK1 podcast. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, really good. I'm a lot happy now we've obviously got Twine in, wrapped up Twine, should I say? That's a proper dad joke that I've already used a few times and I'm sure I'll continue to use it a few more times. So talk to me about him then. Obviously, League One player of the season last season. You must be gutted to lose him.
Yeah, I mean, it's always expected, right? When a player's getting 33 goal contributions in League One and not getting promoted, there's always a slight chance it's going to move on probably every single time. Yeah, listen, what can we say? He's a fantastic player, plays multiple positions, I'm sure we'll get into. And all in all, really, really nice bloke who comes from a brilliant background. So it's easy to see. And I think his personality comes across really well in that interview he did for the club in terms of his introduction. I think that sort of personifies him quite well as a person and a player.
Yeah, so talk to me about him as a person then, because obviously you mentioned that interview and I were going to mention that. He comes across as someone who's just happy, just seems happy to be where he is in life, just seems a bit buzzing. The feeling I'm getting from that interview is that he's eager, he's eager to get started. Would that be a fair comment?
Yeah, I think he's the perfect sign to cap off this new sort of era of Burnley Football Club, as they said, really, from all parties in terms of, companies in now. It's his first sort of signing as Twine. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure his family will be at away games. They've written the majority of our away games this season. We spoke to his family on a regular basis, basically, what I'm trying to say. And yeah, really, really nice people. You can tell where he gets some of his little quirks from. But yeah, and he has the time to say those away fans after the game, and sort of, I suppose it's easy when he's playing that well. But
yeah,
I think overall, yeah, a really, really nice bloke, and you can see that his family are really enjoying his successes so far, and even his agents, to be fair, when he was at Swindon, I think he had a bit of a rough time towards the start. He was struggling to get regular game time because everyone could see the talent, but no one was willing to essentially give him like 90 minutes every day, every Saturday, every Tuesday. Whereas I think MK Dons came in and said, listen, you could go to the Championship, but you'd like to give me a bench player. You can come to MK Dons, start 90 minutes every week, and see what happens. And what's happened has happened, and he's at Burnley now. And I think the case may be the same here. I was fairly I thought he'd make a Premier League, to be honest. Definitely got the quality to do so. But it could be the case of, maybe some clubs don't feel ready for that yet, whereas Burnley can come in and have those. Of course, the parachute payments come in, which would help with this deal. But, come and offer him that 90 minutes of football every week and hopefully give him the platform to shine.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Obviously, you've already mentioned he can play multiple positions. What sort of role does he suit best then? Is it an out-and-out striker? Is it the number 10 floating sort of role? Is it like forward on the wing? What's best place to play him?
Yeah, he's played all three for Dons. I think the most we saw him was on the wing in like a 3-4-3 most of the time. I think early on he was playing in the 10. I think his best position is the 10. But I said a free roaming 10 is probably where he wants to play and where he is best. Okay, with the likes of Rodriguez and Barnes in front of him, I'm sure maybe another few players also, he's going to have the supply there. So I think introducing him around that creativity is really, really good for him. He can play as shadow striker. I wouldn't put that past him. I know companies trying to introduce like a fluid 4-4-2 by the sounds of things.
Yeah.
So having maybe him and Ashley Barnes or Joe Rodriguez or another striker, maybe a more physical one, have like a big man, sort of small man type combination would be a bad thing. And, you see some of the goals he scored this season. I think he suits that shadow striker role. So yeah, he's a versatile player who I feel that if you did need to switch it up early on and say the 4-4-2 wasn't exactly working, he's the type of player you want in your squad because he can adapt to multiple systems, and ultimately that talent he does have, is going to suit everyone around him.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to predict how Burnley are going to play next season, or should I say this coming season in a minute. We will be having a Belgian journalist hopefully on the channel at some point this week or next week to try and get more about stuff like that. If it's anything to go by how he played at Anderlecht, it was sort of like possession-based football, but it was 4-4-2. Sometimes he played 4-3-3. Do you think you just said then it can suit multiple systems? Do you think it'd suit, playing up in a front two behind, say, Rodriguez, Barnes, or Vidra, something like that? Would he suit that, or would he be more suited for a different formation? Do you think?
I'd prefer him at a 4-4-2 where he is playing shadow striker role. I think for me, right out on the wing is probably where I don't really like him in particular. I don't think he's naturally the quickest player in the world. Yes, he's very elusive and very tricky with the ball, but in terms of raw pace, he's probably not got that. So I wouldn't say if you just switch to 4-3-3, unless it's inside forwards, you're probably going to struggle to see his full impact. I think you're much better off keeping it nice and narrow with him, let him be in the pocket, let him do his thing, really. And of course, as you know, set pieces are a specialty. So if you get fouls in around the box, he's going to be the man to take your free kicks for you.
Yeah, well, I've made a note here. Free kicks. Well, I put best attributes question mark and then free kicks. That brings me nicely onto that one. I saw one that he scored against Sheffield Wednesday last season. A little footnote to that is he scored that against Bailey Peacock Fowler, who of course is our goalkeeper as well. So that'll be interesting. So what are his best attributes then? You've mentioned the free kicks. First of all, why are the free kicks so good?
I mean, from speaking to guys who raised me at previous clubs like Newport, Swindon, of course, Don's also, all we can put down to is just hard work. And I think it's easy to say that every player has hard work installed in them and you have to be a hard-working player to get to the top of English football. Of course you do. But I feel with Twine, everything that I've heard from him is that it's so much more than just, turning up to training every week, putting in some couple of hours in the gym. It's a lot about analysis and studying every. Basically, I mean, Liam Manning spoke about, when on the coach back from games, say they're at Atkinson or Morecambe, he's straight on the iPad with Liam in terms of analysing his game and where he can improve and his stats, things like that. So he's a relentless worker. I think that's the big thing about him. You can clearly see his rise for English football throughout this COVID period, and coming out of it now has been astronomical. He's played non-league a few seasons ago. So, I think that obviously he's got talent. No one gets anywhere without talent, really. And I think he's, especially this season in particular, his breakout year, he showcased that. And I think he's a big game player. I think a lot of the times this season have been on Sky, Plymouth away, Sheffield Wednesday at home. Admittedly, we lost that game, but he's had a decent performance. A few others, we've seen him perform well on TV. Not saying big games are just on the TV, but I think overall he's just a high impact player. And we saw the same with Matt O'Reilly, who of course now a Celtic player. Those two in midfield were the best two players in the league and they were together. And it was easy to see how O'Reilly's creativity and Twine's just explosiveness on the ball really combined well. And I feel that Burnley's team is quite similar in that sense. So, yeah, I think it's a brilliant fit for him. And I'm glad he's got his move that he wanted.
What other attributes is he good at? Because I've seen a couple of long range goals and things like that. I think I scored another one against Bailey. I might be wrong on that one, but is he good at sort of like arriving? Yeah, I thought he did. Is he good at sort of like arriving late into the box and having long range efforts, or is there any other attributes we can look out for that he's good at?
I don't think he's much of a arriving late in the box person. I think he's more of a person who just sits on the edge a little bit of a dead ball specialist, as we said. I mean, it's not even dead ball, really. It's not a long shot specialist in general. I think he's got he can play from deep also, which is quite a key thing for him. So I wouldn't say he suits a 4-4-2 deep type of player, but if you are looking to convert to maybe more of a 4-2-3-1 potentially, I feel like he could definitely be a bit of a deeper player, and maybe if there's no position in a 10 where someone else is playing, I say Twine could definitely pick out a pass from deeper roles. And obviously the Championship's a different beast to League One. So, maybe he's better off being suited more towards being in the most familiar roles like the 10, like the shadow striker role, as opposed to being deeper. But yeah, his creativity is off the charts, and it's hard to find a weakness in his game, which is a really, really good sign, especially if you're going to spend the money that you have spent on him. You want a player who's fairly polished but still has room to grow, and that's definitely the case with Twine. I think for now it's just a case of him proving it at a high level, and hopefully getting you guys to the Premiership and activating our add-on clauses, which would be nice.
Yeah, well, we'd take that, mate. So everyone would be happy. You mentioned weaknesses there. I do want to talk about that. Is there any weaknesses? You said it's hard to find any.
I mean, he gets fouled a lot. Obviously, for how good he is, he doesn't really pick up injuries, which is, from what we've noticed, obviously a really good thing. So I don't remember being injured at all. Actually, he might miss a few games just due to rest and just needing that rest basically. But yeah, from our time anyway, he had no injuries, so that's a good sign. He can take a bit of a beating, but of course, you're going to want the players around him to avoid that for him. And of course, due to his size, I wouldn't say he's a particularly weak player. But of course, coming up against 17 championships, he can get bullied a little bit. But listen, I think his core strength overall is really, really solid for a player of his size, and I don't think it's that much of a weakness. But considering player comps anyway. But no, I think overall it's just nothing that you'd say is not a glaring weakness, which is obviously, as I said to you, a really, really good sign. But there's a few things that I think people will notice straight away that hopefully he can prove people wrong on.
Yeah, what's it like in the air then? I mean, I know we've already said that Burnley are probably going to play a little bit different this season, but if he came into the Burnley side under Daesh, it probably wouldn't suit it very well. What if he's not very good in the air?
Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head right now, I can't think I saw much of him going for headers at all. Not that he needed to, because the MK9 style of football is very much keeping it on the ground, progressive football. It has a purpose rather than. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's times we lumped it up to Conor Wickham last season. He brought it down, but you certainly won't be seeing Twine going up for corners. He'll be the one taking them, basically.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if he's up front with Ashley Barnes, we all know he's going to be the one throwing his elbows around and bringing it down. Anyway, if we do go down that route, you mentioned already you think the Championship's a bit of a different beast. I mean, if anyone can make the step up, it's the League One Player of the Year. But do you think he will be capable of making the step up?
Yeah, listen, I think he's definitely talking goal contributions, definitely a 20 goal contributions player in there. Of course, it's going to be down to company to put in the right system. You'd like to think, because his marquee signing, that he's going to do that. And yeah, listen, there's a whole bunch of talent in that Burnley team already that I'm sure he'll gel well with. Force the facilities there. It's his first time, as he said himself, it's the first time really where he's had a proper facility to go to on a permanent basis. So that's always going to help him. Has a bit more of a home this time, whereas Milton Keynes is not really trading around at the moment. There's still plans to build that into the club. And of course, Swindon is Swindon, which is not the best place in the world. So, but yeah, listen, I think he's in a perfect spot here, and I think if he has the right culture around him and the right people around him, which I think is a good start with company, and based off the new era of the club, it's a good sign. So, yeah, if the right culture's there, he'll definitely smash it.
How far do you think he can go? You've already mentioned you think he can get to the Premier League. Is Europe maybe on the cards at some point in his career, or are we just getting a bit ahead of ourselves here?
No, I generally, I mean, what is he? He's 22 now, going to 23. He's still very, very young. We look at the likes of James Ward-Prowse, for example. I feel like he could definitely follow a similar career path to him. Of course, hopefully his progression is a bit quicker than that. But I think definitely Europe and England is certainly on the cards for him. He's just got to keep up. I'm sure Scott will keep up with the terms of his mentality and how he plays on the pitch. It's just making sure that he continues to use the same advice that got him this far, and ultimately trust his gut. And I think he's in a pretty good spot here. But I suppose the proof's in the pudding when it comes to playing 46 games in Championship season. As arguably, maybe not one of the top two or three teams initially, but a team that's definitely looking to get straight back up to the Premier League. And by the looks of it, all the other signings that you guys are looking to make, he'll do well.
Yeah, fingers crossed we can get them through the door as well. Yeah. Another thing I'm going to ask as well. Sort of like you've mentioned there, not the top 2-3 teams initially. From the outside looking in, always good to get another fan's opinion on this. How do you think the new sort of like era is going to go at Burnley? Do you think it's potential? Because obviously companies coming in, he's maybe not been in the at this level before of management, but as a born winner, I'm kind of expecting us to maybe have a slowish start as he gets used to it, but then kick on.
Yeah.
I can't see how we're not there or thereabouts, top 6. How do you think we'll get on?
Yeah, with the signings you guys are making, and obviously the course of players that you'd like to think are going to stay now, based on where we are in the window. Yeah, I think we do well. I think top 6 is very realistic. Of course, Huddersfield for me are always going to be a team that are going to be up there regardless of what happens with their transfers. The team that always fails at the final hurdle, whether they deserved it or not on the day, is going to do well next season. And of course, you've got like Sheffield United, who are, I think this season are going to do well. But yeah, I think Championship, right? It's a bit of a lottery. You never know who's going to do. You can say, we can sit over like and say, Burnley are going to finish second and Sheffield United will finish first. Like, it's a complete lottery. All I can say is that, I think Burnley will do well, and the players that they're signing, especially from League One, and I think that it's usually a good sign when the recruitment goes like that. And if you start fast, brilliant. If it takes a bit longer, okay. I think as long as you're thereabouts before the World Cup break, essentially, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, well, hopefully we are, because the last game before the World Cup break is Blackburn, so we need to be winning that one.
It's a big game.
Yeah, I know. I can't imagine losing that one and then having to endure Southgate for a month. It's not going to be a good month before Christmas, that is it. Last question from me. Obviously, the deal, we mentioned it already. Fee to be reported around 4 million, 5 million. That could be with add-ons. I'm not sure on the exact ins and outs of it. Are you happy with that as a fan base? Or do you think, we've got a bit of a bargain? What are your thoughts on the actual deal?
Yeah, I mean, if you believe the rumoured package that's been shared amongst the Dons fan base anyway, it's a pretty good deal for both parties. I think as our sporting director mentioned, I think it benefits the club in the short term. So, i.e., the transfer fee that we've been given by Burnley, and then of course the long term when it comes to sell-on fees and of course add-ons if you guys get promoted. So I think it's a brilliant deal for both clubs. I definitely feel that Twine's got sell-on potential also in case Burnley, don't. Well, a shame if they don't, but if they don't get to the level which they wanted to in 2-3 seasons. But yeah, I think it's a great deal, and I don't see how. It feels scary to say this, but I don't see how it doesn't work for him. I just feel that he's picked the right club here, and he had other options to our knowledge that he could have joined, but I feel this option here in Burnley feels like the best option for him. I'm glad he agrees in that also.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you saw, but I saw that Hull were interested. There's rumours that Leicester were a Premier League club that were briefly interested, but obviously that might have been a little bit too far originally.
Yeah, there's a few Premier League clubs that were sniffing around from what I've heard, but yeah, I do think that this Burnley option was the best one. Obviously, Hull. I mean, if he went to Hull, I'd been like, bloody hell, like Scott, like what are you playing at? But I think Burnley's it's a team that as I said, they're going to be challenging this season, and with the other signings that you sound like you're going to make fairly soon, it should be a good season for you boys.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed it is. Good luck to us. Good luck to you. Just want to give everyone a shout out where they can find you if they do want to listen to some sort of MK1 podcasts.
Yes, so MK1 podcast on our social media, on all your favourite podcast platforms. Of course, we chat everything Milton Keynes. So, I imagine we haven't reacted to the Twine news yet, but if you want to hear a bit more about it from our perspective, listen to that next episode. But that's where we are.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be listening to that one anyway. But thanks for joining us, mate. And I normally say at this point, I'll see you at some point during the season. But unless we get each other in the cup again, like we did, was it last season or season before? I can't remember.
It's COVID season. Yeah, it's a few seasons.
Yeah. So fingers crossed. Good luck for the season anyway, mate. It's been good having you on the podcast.
Yeah, you too, mate. Best of luck.